Before we start today's video, check out our merch shop, linked in the description down below. Use code AHSOKA in all caps to get $7 off your order. May the Force be with you, and enjoy the vid.
Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
What's up guys, Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well, and in this video we have a new reveal into the regards of Clone Wars era Anakin with Hayden Christensen, Ariana Greenblatt in the AHSOKA show playing young AHSOKA there as well, and for what this may mean for the future of the franchise for one, but more specifically with a possible potential AHSOKA Season 2 is exactly what we're going to be discussing in today's video. So of course we're going to go ahead and hop right on into it. Before we do though, however, grab that subscribe button if you haven't already. We're discussing and covering all types of Star Wars related news, leaks, rumors, theories, and breakdowns here on the channel, so if that type of thing is for you, go ahead and join us today on the channel by hitting that subscribe button. In this video, we are going to be taking a read from StarWarsNewsNet.com. I'll have their article linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there as well. In a recent interview with the Dagobah Dispatch, Entertainment Weekly's Star Wars themed podcast, the publication sat down with Hayden Christensen himself to discuss the actor's return in A Galaxy Far, Far Away in the AHSOKA show recently. Some of the topics included what it was like to be an older, wiser version of the character for one, creating this relationship between Anakin and AHSOKA, and getting to swing a lightsaber around again, of course. A particularly fascinating aspect and part of this overall discussion centered around Anakin's appearance in the world between worlds. Dagobah Dispatch asked about his interpretation of Anakin shown in the Part 5, Episode 5 of AHSOKA, where he teaches AHSOKA a lesson through various flashbacks, as we all have hoped for so much, and have hoped for such a long time. I think having live-action Clone Wars flashbacks is exactly what that episode had offered up. His response highlights how Anakin has shown in the series is the culmination of all of the character's experiences, and how it was a version of the character he has always wanted to take on and portray, all of the different culminations of not just AHSOKA, but also for Anakin himself there as well. Almost like a Christmas Carol kind of aspect, going through these different time variants and different timelines essentially, and kind of reliving those moments as well, while being able to take away a new lesson from those flashbacks. Hayden Christensen himself says that, in quote, "I was getting to play a version of this character that I didn't had done before, and when we met Anakin in the world between worlds, it's sort of me getting to play the totality of both Anakin and Darth Vader. It's an understanding of everything that he's been through and everything that he was, and when we go back to the Clone Wars flashback, that was just awesome." That was a version of the character that I was aware of when we were doing the prequels. When we went to go do Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, George Lucas spoke a lot about what had happened in between Episodes 2 and 3, with the Clone Wars animated show, of course, but when they were doing those movies, it was before they had actually done the animated show, of course, I think, as we all know. And of course, that was what Dave Filoni spent a lot of time exploring in the animated world, with the Cartoon Network animated Clone Wars show. But I really never got to play that. And I remember when George Lucas was describing Anakin during the Clone Wars as being this great hero and a great leader, and I thought, wow, that's really cool. I wish we could see a little bit more of that, and do a little bit of it actually. At the beginning of Episode 3, you get a taste of it, but then very quickly he becomes consumed with all of the other inner conflicts once again. And then when I went on and I was preparing for the Obi-Wan Disney Plus show, I went and I watched the Clone Wars animated show, and I got to see that version of Anakin. I was very taken with it, and I thought, man, that would be really exciting to get to do that in live action. And so, when Dave Filoni told me that we were going to get to do that, it was a real gift, and I just felt very privileged to get to do that. I mean, that quote right there, I think it goes without saying, very much of an extensive quote right there. A lot of information to take on, absorb, break down here. I mean, a lot of great things really said here from Hayden himself there as well, giving us that insight of George Lucas's inner workings and his inner minds of when they went on to do Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, telling Hayden Christensen about what goes on between the last movie, Episode 2, and goes on between Episode 3 there with the Clone Wars animated show. Hayden never really getting to explore that really until now, or really getting to be a part of that, and I think that that is all of it. I think that is very exciting to see. Next, Hayden Christensen goes on to discuss how he was approached that relationship between Anakin and his former apprentice, Ahsoka. His response expresses deep respect for the work that's come before, and for his co-stars there as well. He says that, in quotes, establishing this dynamic between Anakin and Ahsoka, the stakes were high, because there were a lot of people that were already invested in that relationship, and this was the first time that we were going to be getting to see that in live action. I loved getting to do it. It's a side of Anakin that is just very compelling, very confident, and I think he has a good teacher to Ahsoka. And you see that he really, cares about her, so it's important for us to get that across too. But Rosario Dawson and I go way back as well. We met each other when we were both teenagers, actually, so there's this natural kind of rapport there, and it was really cool to get to do this with her. And then with Ariana Greenblatt too, younger Ahsoka. When we get to do stuff with young Ahsoka, she's phenomenal. They couldn't have been cast with better roles, so it was all set up for us to just really win, and that's a great feeling, and I just loved how Dave Filoni conceived it and guided us through it, and the end result I was very happy with. I really loved how it came out. Ending that quote right there from Hayden Christensen himself. And I love the mad props to his co-stars there, as I had mentioned before, that quote right there as well, of saying how great Ariana Greenblatt, Rosario Dawson is, also giving us some insight of what it was like to, come back and work with Rosario Dawson again. He mentions that the two of them had been good long friends since that they were teenagers in their early acting careers. And I also believe that Rosario Dawson has also mentioned this as well, of it's just creates this dynamic and that interaction between Rosario Dawson and Hayden Christensen's Anakin Skywalker when they're in the world between worlds. It creates that relationship, I think, so much more there. It makes it much more realistic, and it doesn't even feel like acting to a point. It just feels so natural. So, lastly, Hayden Christensen discussed his excitement over getting to do more lightsaber action sequences, of course. He expresses this childlike glee that he had when he had discovered that the script called for it, and how apprehensive he was to be able to do that again for the Ahsoka show after doing it in Obi-Wan Kenobi as well. Hayden Christensen says that, in quotes, any chance I get to swing a lightsaber is an awesome opportunity. And when I was reading the script for the first time of episode 5 of Ahsoka, I was like a giddy little boy. I was like, oh, I'm going to get to do all this awesome action, and I couldn't sit down. I was pacing around the room just reading the script, and I remember putting it down halfway through, and I messaged Dave Filoni, and I was just thanking him profusely. Ending that quote right there of just, I feel like I always mention this here on the channel, of just how the Star Wars actors are some of the biggest Star Wars fans themselves, and I love how that follows through with the Chosen One, Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader, Hayden Christensen himself there as well. I think it makes it all the much more they sincerely love these roles, they love these stories, and they love what they're able to do with bringing this to the fans here as well. And so, now that the Hollywood strikes are now finally concluded, many of the stars in Ahsoka are finally getting a chance to speak on their work in the Disney Plus Ahsoka show, including Iman Esfahani and Deanna Lee, who recently spoke on what it was like joining the show as Ezra Bridger, and Morgan Elsbeth there as well. There's been a lot of different news, reveals, teases for the Ahsoka show recently, all of by which we're keeping you guys updated with here on the channel. All of them are reason to grab that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thanks so much for watching today's video, guys. Of course, I would love to hear all of your thoughts and opinions and theories in the comment section down below. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Of course, this has been Unofficial Star Wars. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one. May the Force be with you as always. Peace out.